A lot of people in the national media keep throwing out this take that the Minnesota Vikings need to trade Kirk Cousins. Why should the Minnesota Vikings trade away Kirk Cousins when he's playing some of the best football of his career? Look, Kirk Cousins is 35 years old. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but we've seen plenty of quarterbacks play high level football deep into their 40s. Like Tom Brady was damn near 50 when he retired, and he was still playing at a pretty high level. Aaron Rodgers is 40 something years old, and he still was playing at a serviceable level. Like Kirk Cousins still has a lot of great football left in him. And the Minnesota Vikings trading away Kirk Cousins because of age, I don't really think that's a big reason for them to have to move on from him. It's not like the other rookie quarterbacks that they're going to be in contention to get are going to be able to come in and just prove to be an upgrade from Kirk Cousins right away. If you're not in the Caleb Williams or Drake May sweepstakes, then there's no reason why you should even entertain the idea of trading away Kirk Cousins, because the other quarterbacks in this upcoming draft class are being severely overhyped. And I've said that previous occasions on this podcast that many people are overhyping this 2024 quarterback class. They make it seem like if you got a guy like a Dak Prescott or a Kirk Cousins and you got the opportunity to draft like a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix, you should just move on from those guys and draft one of those guys. Like these upcoming quarterback prospects, there's no guarantee that they're going to be able to come into the National Football League and just instantly have success, even though they're going to be going into a pretty good situation. And Kirk Cousins has been playing at damn near a top 5 level this year. Now, even if you don't agree that he's been playing at a top 5 level, he's definitely been playing at a top 10 level. And this is with him playing behind a garbage offensive line. Yes, he has a really good group of wide receivers to throw the football to, but Kirk Cousins gets a lot of big hits. Every single game I watch the Minnesota Vikings playing, like Kirk Cousins is getting plowed, and he's still throwing absolute dimes despite him taking a lot of big hits. So for the Minnesota Vikings, I ask you this: if you do want to trade away Kirk Cousins, are you really confident that whichever quarterback you're going to land in the NFL draft is going to prove to be an immediate upgrade? Because these quarterback prospects, you don't really know how they're going to plan out. And if you can't get a Drake May or a Caleb Williams, I don't really think it makes a lot of sense trading away Kirk Cousins. And even if you do have to draft a young quarterback and you just want to plan for the future, I still think it makes sense to keep Kirk Cousins around. You give Kirk Cousins a 2-3 year extension because right now he's expected to become an unrestricted free agency at the season's end. So if you're going to draft a young quarterback, I think it would make sense to keep Kirk Cousins on the roster so he could mentor that guy and allow that young quarterback to have a little bit of time to grow and learn. Trading away Kirk Cousins, I don't think does the Minnesota Vikings any favors. And you're not going to get a first round pick for him. The guy is 35 years old at most. You'll get a high-end second and third round pick for Kirk Cousins. I don't really think that's worth it. Now, if a team comes at you and they're like, hey, we'll give you a top 10 pick or we'll give you a first round selection for Kirk Cousins if you give him to us, then I think it makes the offer a little bit more interesting. You definitely listen, but it's hard to find a top 12 quarterback. Top 12 quarterbacks don't just grow on trees. Like, I know we like to shit on Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott for being above average quarterbacks and not being considered elite for the majority of their careers. But a lot of people don't understand just how hard it is to find a Kirk Cousins or a Dak Prescott caliber quarterback. You can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Kirk Cousins. You may or may not be able to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott's, depending on the situation with your team. But even then, how many quarterbacks get drafted in the first round and end up panning out? Look at Justin Fields. We still don't really know how good he is. Look at Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. There are way more quarterbacks that end up being busts that get drafted in the first round than those who don't. And even if you do got a good situation, there's no guarantee that guy's going to work out. Trey Lance was playing on one of the best rosters in the whole entire National Football League, and he still ended up becoming a bust. Like, trading away Kirk Cousins would be a huge mistake by the Minnesota Vikings, because I promise you, it's really hard to find a suitable replacement for a guy playing at the level that Kirk Cousins has been playing at this season. And even when you look at Kirk Cousins' career from a wide view angle, He wasn't even the first round pick. Neither was Dak Prescott. So it already is hard to find a top 12 high-end quarterback in the first round. It's even harder to find a starting caliber quarterback in the rounds after the first round. The Minnesota Vikings would be making a huge mistake trading away Kirk Cousins, and I don't get why the media just continues to push this narrative that the Vikings have to trade Kirk Cousins. People making it seem like the Vikings have no wins, like the Vikings right now have started to turn their season around. I don't think Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings general manager want to throw the white flag on the season when they still have a great opportunity to make it into the postseason. Like, nobody should be throwing the towel in when their season is how the Minnesota Vikings is right now, still having a lot to play for. Now, if you were the Chicago Bears or the Carolina Panthers or the Arizona Cardinals and you desperately needed a quarterback, then hell yeah, you go ahead and you throw in the white flag and you go ahead and try to tank for one. But the Minnesota Vikings tanking for a quarterback right now where they kind of are still in the playoff race makes absolutely no sense. And there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to hit on whoever you draft in next year's quarterback class. I mean, outside of Drake May and Caleb Williams, a lot of these quarterback prospects are really shaky. And I don't think that too many people are giving Kirk Cousins his fair due of respect. The fact that people say, oh yeah, Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback, he's been playing at a really high level this year, the Vikings need to trade him where his value is still high, really just blows my damn mind, because why are you trading away a good quarterback? Good quarterbacks just don't grow on trees. I know everybody is enamored with having an elite quarterback. Everybody wants a Patrick Mahomes, a Justin Herbert, a Lamar Jackson, a Joe Burrow, but you can still win with a Kirk Cousins at quarterback. The 49ers went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo outplayed Patrick Mahomes for 4 quarters and 7 minutes in that Super Bowl. If he never misses that throw to Emmanuel Sanders and the 49ers end up winning that Super Bowl, we have an entirely different conversation about Jimmy Garoppolo. Kirk Cousins is a good enough quarterback that he can lead you to a championship if you got the right pieces around him. It's very hard to find a high-end quarterback like a Kirk Cousins in the National Football League. I promise you that if Kirk Cousins was a free agent right now, nearly half of the NFL would be banking or begging at his knees to sign him. There's a reason why the New York Jets went out there and begged for Aaron Rodgers to come to the Big Apple. You need a great quarterback to be able to win in today's league. And Kirk Cousins, he may not be an elite quarterback, but he definitely is a really good quarterback. And it's hard to find really good in this league. There are more average to below average quarterbacks in the NFL than there are good quarterbacks. And even if you do trade Kirk Cousins, for the team that trades Kirk Cousins, you're not going to be able to start this dude right away. You're going to have to wait a couple of weeks for him to learn the system. And by the time he learns the system, there's no guarantee that you're still going to be in playoff contention by that time. So I don't think making a mid-season trade for a quarterback like Kirk Cousins really does you all that much favor if you're a team like the New York Jets. Like the New York Jets right now, I think they're better off sticking with Zach Wilson than they are trading for Kirk Cousins. And the reason why I say that is because there's no way a guy like Kirk Cousins is going to come in and just master the system in 1 or 2 weeks. Hell, if you watch the Netflix quarterback documentary series, he even said that he kind of had a little bit of some growing pains his first couple of games learning Kevin O'Connell's system because it was a new system. It takes a little bit of getting used to. So if he struggled to learn Kevin O'Connell's system for the first couple of weeks into last year's season, what makes you think that he's going to go to a team like the New York Jets and instantly pick up the playbook and get it? It doesn't work like that. This isn't Madden when you just trade for somebody and you start them and they just play good right away. This is the National Football League. This is real life. Minnesota trading away Kirk Cousins would be a grave mistake on their part. And to be honest with you, I don't get why they would, even if you do plan on drafting a quarterback. I think the best case scenario for the Minnesota Vikings would be keeping Kirk Cousins, giving him a 2-3 year extension, and then drafting a quarterback in the first round if you really do want to draft a quarterback and look to get younger at that position. But I think that the Vikings have way more pressing issues than worrying about trying to rebuild right now. Getting a new quarterback isn't going to fix the damn offensive line, and you still need some more talent on defense.